Hey, we got a new frame set in the house. Let's open it up and let's see what's inside. Shout out to Velobuild for sending this out. Yeah, let's get busy. Let's see what this is. Hey, we got a lot of bikes behind me, don't we, right? Y'all like my hat? Ooh. As you can see, it is packaged very well. Check that out, guys. Oof. Oof. That looks good. Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. That's right, we have another frame here in my living room. So in today's video, guys, we will be doing just a quick overview on a brand new frame from Velobuild, which is their cyclocross frame, which is the CX-002. We're going to be talking about the details, the pricing, just sort of my initial impressions of the frame, and of course my plans for this build. Oh, and by the way, if you are new to my channel, my name is Patrick Lino, and I am a cyclist here in the Chicagoland area who builds bikes, who does bike reviews. And if you really want to support the channel, then let me know in the comments down below what is your go-to drivetrain setup and tire choice for cyclocross races. So without further ado, let's begin. So a quick overview. Like I said in the introduction, this is Velobuild's latest offering, which is the CX-002, which is a frame, of course, for cyclocross races and probably gravel as well. The retail price on this frame is $599 USD, plus whatever sort of extra cost there might be for custom paint options and of course for shipping. I went with the size 54 and a matte black finish. Tire clearance on this frame is up to 42C tires, so a strong case could be made to use this frame for gravel. I think it would be great for gravel. I know some folks locally here use their cyclocross frames for gravel. However, this frame does not have mounts for fenders, which could be a deal breaker for a lot of people who are dedicated gravel riders. Now, at this point, I've reviewed the 168 Aero frame from Velobuild, as well as their 177 Climbing frame. So I was pretty curious to check out this frame when they announced it, because there aren't a lot of affordable Chinese brands offering up cyclocross frames, and especially a cyclocross frame that's actually in stock, ready to ship, rather than having to wait 1 to 2 months to manufacture that said frame. Plus, you don't really see a lot of cyclocross frames with drop seat stays and an Aero seat post, especially not even from the major brands that we see today. So I reached out to Velobuild via Instagram and they got the ball rolling, and the frame arrived in about 3 to 4 weeks. Also, Velobuild is very active on Instagram, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact them via their direct messaging. Alrighty guys, it is that time of the video where we weigh out the frame set. But before we do, big shout out to Roger Troutman, the many faces of Roger Troutman. If you don't know who he is, then you probably should consider unsubscribing to my channel, because shame on you, you should know who he is. I mean, more bounce to the ounce, computer love, bro, computer love, fantastic song. Anyway, all right, let me shut up here and let's get busy here. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to weigh out is the frame set. Now keep in mind with the frame set does have a matte black finish on it. We have all of the bottle cage bolts, we have the metal derailleurs, we have the hangers that are jankily secured, and whatever other grommets on here as well. So this is for a size 54 frame set. Oof, chunky boy over here. We have 1,261 grams for the frame set. Matte black paint. Next up is the fork. Uncut fork we have. Uncut fork, we have 438 grams, 439 grams, excuse me. And last but not least is the seat post. And the seat post does include the saddle clamp as well. For the seat post, we have 238 grams, 237 grams, good Lord. Okay, 38, all right. Let's continue. Moving on to my initial impressions of this frame set. Now, I'm going to be very honest. Maybe it's because the matte black finish could be possibly covering over any sort of carbon imperfection, but this is the best quality sort of Velobuild frame that I've ever held or felt in hand, to the point that I almost suspect that this frame might be being produced in a different factory from the 168 and the 177 frames. And that might probably explain why this cyclocross frame costs $100 more. It costs $599 USD versus the $499 price point for the other road frames that I just mentioned. Now, obviously, I don't have any idea on this at all. I don't have any intel, but I'm simply just speculating. I really couldn't find any obvious visual flaws upon my initial impressions, and now it kind of makes me wonder if I received a Hambini special. Who knows? But the frame does come with a seat post dust cover. Finally, I know this is something that customers have been asking for, and they've had to reach out on like AliExpress to find the dust cover. So it's nice that Velobuild supplied this with this frame. Another detail that I did not expect is the frame also comes with a 3M adhesive chrome chainstay protector, because the assumption is that with cyclocross races, they're usually more prone to chain drops than some of the other cycling disciplines. And I think this is a really nice touch from Velobuild. I mean, you know, everybody wants to protect their chainstay from chain scuffs and scratches, so it's nice that they included this 3M chain protector. The bottom bracket cups are flat. The caliper mounts appear to have been faced. Maybe, we won't really know for sure, and the headset bearings are pretty smooth. But again, all of this we won't really know until I get this bike built up and ready to go. Now, as you can see on the screen, I put up some B-roll footage of comparing the this Velobuild CX-002 frame to the Renascelta Granite frame set, just for comparison's sake. And even though the Renascelta frame is more for sort of all-road situations rather than just cyclocross, because the height of the bottom bracket is a little bit different, I did want to show you each one just side by side, just to kind of give you a visual of what both these frames look like together. Now, there's two more things that I want to talk about before I move on with my plans for this bike. So number one, the bottom bracket for this frame set is a BB86 press fit, which in my opinion is the only way to go for Chinese frames, press fit that is. Basically what I'm saying is stay far, far away from BSA bottom brackets, because they can be very, very problematic, especially if the frame is painted from the factory rather than you being able to inspect the frame first and then painting the frame afterwards. So basically, stick with press fit if you can for cheap Chinese frames. And the second thing I want to talk about is the cable port or the cable stop design for the front derailleur. In my opinion, it's probably the worst design on the market, particularly if you are running mechanical shift cables. Trying to properly set up the proper cable tension can be a chore, but it's not impossible. I mean, I've successfully been able to do it on my 168 and 177 frame sets. So just be aware that you will need to spend a little bit of extra time setting up the front derailleur on mechanical shifting cables. Of course, you could just always go one by, which is a pretty common drivetrain for cyclocross races. However, in my case, I will be running SRAM ETAP, so I don't have to worry about trying to deal with cable tension or anything like that. I'll just set it up. It's going to be wireless and I'll be good to go. And finally, guys, my plans for this frame. So my plans are to maybe add a couple of decals, but that's basically it. No crazy colors. I just wanted to keep this bike pretty understated because I've done a lot of crazy custom colors in the past. And while I do like that, especially being able to sort of express my personality, I think for this setup, I think just having a really cool under the radar matte black finish is going to look really, really cool. And like I said just previously, I have a SRAM Rival ETAP group set that's ready to go that will allow me either to run a 1x or a 2x setup without having to worry about that silly cable stop. After I do that, of course, I'm going to add some cyclocross wheels or gravel tires. I don't know just yet. Unfortunately, I'll probably have to donor some of my parts on my 177 build, but truthfully, I'm running out of storage space anyway for all these bikes, so it just makes the most sense to me. And then once that's done, it's basically put my head down on the trainer and start preparing to use this bike in a couple of cyclocross races that I have scheduled in the spring. So that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. I kind of ran through everything a little bit quickly just because I'm starting to get backed up on bike builds and I have to kind of get all this stuff out of the way as this winter kind of trucks through. But stay tuned for future videos on this frame. A huge shout out to Velobuild for sending out this frame, much appreciated. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will check you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.